You guys are crazy. Google Assistant is easily the best recognition. It can correctly parse a heavy metal power ballad at a distance of 100 paces.
But John, you don't even have an accent like me.
What are you talking about? I'm from Washington, D.C. I have a standard American accent.
All right. Standard American is a myth, John. Movies, actors, and news broadcasters. Your accent's pretty noticeable to someone with a trained ear, but really, if you look at the stats, there's only a few percent difference between how these platforms recognize a standard American English accent versus a Spanish accent. But it doesn't even matter. Just Siri clearly has the best recognition.
Ah, Apple fanboy, eh? Well, let me tell you, Steve Jobs is not coming back through that door. Enjoy your luxury goods.
Well, Alexa really gets me. It's like having a friend and an assistant all in one. I start off my day with my morning routines, then my flash briefings. Then I can ask Alexa for my workout playlist, and she's with me throughout the day.
Yeah, Fiore, I'm having a hard time believing that. Clearly, Siri is the one that's going to work the best. It's just the way it is.
No, I mean,
You guys know this. No, don't be shilling.
No, Alexa is the best. Oh,
Whoa,
guys.
guys! What's all this fighting about?
These guys are shilling it up for Apple and Amazon again.
Can we just all agree that Alexa is the best virtual assistant in the world?
What are the Kelvies talking about? Google only cares about the purity of the technology. They aren't even trying to solve a user case problem.
I mean, that's kind of a silly thing to be arguing about.
Yeah.
Well, no, I
Google
mean, actually, it
Assistant
isn't
is the
something
best,
very silly
obviously.
to argue about because Siri's clearly the
No,
best.
I'm not saying anything bad about anybody's platform of choice. I'm just saying it's kind of silly to argue about because it's really easy to prove.
Really? How?
With our test robots.
How are we going to use our test robots for that?
Well, that's exactly what the test robots were designed to do, to let us test any voice-enabled platform on the planet.
Oh yeah, that's a really great idea. We can use this open source NLU benchmark that I found, run it across all three platforms, and see which one works the best.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be easy. Here, watch this.
And in this corner, the former heavyweight champion of the world, Apple Siri.
I'm going to mash your brains into applesauce.
And in this corner, the challenger, the guru from Mountain View, Google Assistant.
You're gonna need assistance getting up off the floor when I'm done with you.
And last but never least, fighting on the point of the triangle, first ever triangle cage match, the phenom from the Amazon, Alexa!
Now offering same-day delivery of my kiss to your face.
It's now the time we've all been waiting for. I'd like to ask the contestants to take their places. The excitement in the room is building. We will begin this bout in 10,
Wow, sounds awesome.
Yeah, but I'm a little bit worried about how much we're going to be doing here. It may not be ready to go into hyperdrive like this.
Why? Or what's the worst that can happen? Wow, what happened? Where am I?
You're in the land of wishful thinking, my friend.
Wait, and who are you guys?
Oh, I'm Gnarly Kirk, dude.
And I'm Chaotic Fury. I got 50 things to do in the next 50 minutes.
And I am super nerdy pedantic John. Most people find me to be an overbearing know-it-all. Apparently, nothing has really changed for me.
And wait, did you say the land of wishful thinking? What is that?
It's a magical place where every app we create works effortlessly and every user is understood perfectly. We are the inhabitants of this wonderful land. Isn't it great that all the voice apps are flawless?
All your voice apps are flawless? I mean, have you ever used a voice app? And wait a second, don't you know who you're talking to?
No, this is the first time any of us have ever met you before.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you all have really compelling reasons about why you don't think quality matters, and you're going to spend the next 15 minutes or so telling me all about it. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself and what I know about building quality voice applications.
Remarkable.
Whoa, how did you do that?
Don't worry about that. That's really not important. But you know what is important? Quality. And that's why we founded Bespoken. We give your jaws a rest so you don't have to sit and spend all day talking to a smart speaker to improve the quality of your voice experiences.
Oh, that all sounds great, but you obviously forgot what you are. Here in land of wishful thinking, we don't need any of that. Everything just work okay, and yes, life is chaotic, but we like it. So you're wasting your time and energy if you're worrying about quality.
I mean, that doesn't sound right, but I'll bite. Okay, why don't you think quality matters?
Okay, guys, I got this. There's no need to worry about quality because understanding is the most important thing. Emerson, have you seen the data from Brett Kinsella, the Jedi Master of voice bots, of what users value in voice experiences?
Yeah, I think I've seen it like 4 or 5 times today.
Well, let me refresh your memory. If you look at what users find most important, how well it understands them is at the very top of the list. And it's been that way for eons.
Right?
And there's nothing that you can do to improve the recognition. You don't have a PhD in AI. So just chill out with some grunge music or whatever it is that you do there in Seattle.
All right, John. I mean, look, there's a lot that even we mere mortals can do without graduate degrees in AI to help improve this understanding. Let me introduce you to usability performance testing. So look, you're spot on that speech recognition accuracy has a drastic impact on users' perception of the quality of the voice experiences that you're creating. And if you think about it, your users' voices present a really significant challenge. You may have men, women, and children, all with diverse native or non-native accents, unique phrasings, colloquialisms. They might be talking or yelling or whispering. All of that stuff significantly impacts how well these platforms can understand them. And we've tested hundreds of apps, and in general, we see that they really only understand users about 75% of the time.
75%? Those sound like some seriously erroneous calculations.
No, seriously, I mean, that's the reality of this ecosystem right now, and that's pretty poor recognition if you think about it. I mean, if you're playing Jeopardy and it automatically fails 25% of the time just because it doesn't understand you, that's got to be pretty frustrating. What if it's a critical app, like something that's used in a car or in a nursing home? The consequences could be pretty dire.
Okay, but I can't force the platform creators to go and update their acoustic models just for my users. So you might as well not worry your pretty little head about it. It's way too complicated for people such as yourself.
Well, that's true. I mean, you might not be able to force the platforms to change their models, but fortunately, all of them do provide at least a few basic tools we can use to manipulate how they understand. The simplest, and one that has an extraordinary impact right out of the gate, is proper inclusion of synonyms and homophones. Let's start with synonyms. So let's say we make a skill that asks trivia questions about famous movies. So if the skill said, who played the young Godfather, you would say?
Robert De Niro.
Great. So let me put Robert De Niro as a slot value in the skill. Okay, go ahead and try it.
Who played the young Godfather?
De Niro. What is this malfunction? What sort of invalid input did you supply to the model?
I didn't supply any invalid input, but I did only put in that one value. I only put in Robert De Niro. And so when you just now said only his last name, it wasn't able to match it up with the expected value of his full name, and so it failed. Okay, so let me add in some of the other ways people might refer to him.
Okay, I grok it now. So now it will compute correctly if I say any of those?
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay, so let's look at another example. Do you like video games?
Yes, of course. I love Dwarf Fortress, Hearthstone, Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, and Pokemon.
Ah, great. Pokemon. What's your favorite Pokemon?
Pikachu.
Okay. Okay, so now I've got a skill that will give you the details of any of the Pokemon you want. Go ahead, give it a shot.
Ask me about a Pokemon.
Please supply information on Pikachu.
Dude, I got this. Tell me about the Pikachu.
Let me try. Give me the deets on Pikachu.
Okay, so what's the difference here?
That's a great question. I mean, to my ear, it sounded like you guys all said the name of the Pokemon properly. But because Pikachu is not a standard word that these platforms know very well, you're really leaving it up to chance if it's going to get it right or wrong.
So we just add in these two variations and then it'll work perfectly?
Well, not quite. I mean, it might work great for your American accent, for her Peruvian accent, for, I think I heard a surfer accent in there somewhere, but I bet if you three tried it 100 times, you'd get a dozen different results. And what about my accent? Or what about a French accent? And what if I use different phrasing, like, tell me about Pikachu, or I want to learn about Pikachu, or Pikachu, I choose you.
Yes, I see.
Then what about the other 895 Pokemon?
Dear Galactus, the permutations are overwhelming.
Well, it's not overwhelming, but it is something that's just unreasonable to try and do manually. And so that's why we created usability performance testing. You know, with an approach like this, we make it easy to spin up dozens of virtual devices, generate utterances with virtually any accent under the sun, and in no time churn through thousands, even hundreds of thousands of utterances. And then once you're done, you just take those results, paste them in your interaction model, and then run the test again.
I'm running in again, but my energy supply is already running low.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen Back to the Future? You know, sometimes it's really tough to tell what's going to happen when you make small changes to some very complex systems. So in this case, you want to keep running these tests over and over again after you make changes to ensure that you're driving towards the optimal speech recognition accuracy that you want. And we've done this with dozens of apps, and after a few quick runs, we're usually able to get them from that baseline of about 75% recognition to 95, 98, even 99% success. That means less errors, means less complaints for your users, more time programming.
Okay, well, I will admit, I was a bit skeptical at the start, but anything that helps me reduce the errors for my users by over 80% is extremely impressive, especially if it means I get to work on my companionship bot more.
All right, great. Mission accomplished. Guess I can go back home.
Oh, not so fast. You might have won that nerd over, but you still haven't convinced me that quality matters.
Okay, and why don't you think quality matters?
Well, quality doesn't matter because I just don't have the time or the resources.
Oh, interesting. Please explain.
Okay, look, when I was writing mobile apps, I had a huge team of seasoned developers. We used to code faster than a rocket full of monkeys. The mythical man month wasn't mythical to us. Anytime we were behind schedule, our executives would just hire a few more developers and testers, and our productivity increased exponentially. But now that we moved to voice app development, suddenly our teams are smaller and our deadlines are tighter. I just don't have the time to quality when we're purely focused on just getting something out of market.
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic struggle that we see most organizations, large or small, facing nowadays. And let me guess, if your team doesn't do a great job with this voice app, you're probably not going to get a chance to do it with another voice app, am I right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean, that's exactly why you need a force multiplier like this to help you write, test, and then optimize your voice apps as efficiently and effectively as possible. I mean, let's think about an example. How long would you say it takes you to run through sanity checks after you make some changes to your code?
Well, I only run through some high-level ones, but it takes maybe 30 minutes.
30 minutes, okay. And how many times a day are you doing that?
4, sometimes 5 times a day.
Great. And then how many developers on your team are in the same boat?
Have 2 other devs on the team.
Okay, so think about that. I mean, you have 24 developer hours a day on your team, and you guys are spending almost a third of that doing the same repetitive testing tasks over and over again.
I know. I'm just saying the same utterances over and over and over again. I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Well, look, you're in luck. This is a perfect example of why you need automation. I assume you have your test cases written out somewhere, like a Word document or some online tool.
Yeah, I think they're in the Word document.
Okay, great. You can literally just copy paste your test cases into this simple structured format, toss them in your CI tool, and then they'll run automatically every time you make changes to your code. No more sitting and talking to the device all day to see how your app's working.
That's pretty interesting. It looks like even my non-technical team could help with that.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, I was mistaken. I think they're actually in a spreadsheet.
Oh, even better. You know, it's nearly just as easy to tell our tools to run through big volumes of utterances you might have that are stored in a spreadsheet or other structured format.
But isn't it going to take just as long? You can make Google Assistant talk to you at light speed.
Well, you're right about that. I mean, each utterance is still going to take about as long as it would take to test manually. But that's the nice thing about automation. We're not limited then to the number of physical devices we have or the number of people that we have at any given time available to test. You can spin up as many virtual devices as you want. You can run all these tests in parallel, and you can speed up your test execution much, much faster than even the most efficient of test teams.
Okay, buddy, I mean, that all sounds very good. But I just simply don't have the time for all this testing. I mean, we need to get this app launched yesterday, and I don't have the time. Or budget.
Well, I mean, that's a bit of a catch-22. You're going to be paying one way or another. Like either you're paying because your schedule is shifting to the right, or you're paying because people are spending time unnecessarily doing the same repetitive tasks over and over, or you're paying because your app doesn't work very well, so your customers aren't using it and they're going to your competitors' apps. You know, one way or another, you can't get around the impact that good or bad quality has on your users. But I promise you, if you catch bugs as early as possible in the development life cycle, the price and the embarrassment factor is going to be much, much lower. And look, don't think you're alone in this dilemma. I mean, that's why we created this solution, and that's why we structured it this way, is we want it to be extraordinarily affordable and incredibly easy to implement so that every voice developer can reap the benefits of test automation.
Now that you painted the big picture, I guess that makes sense.
Oh, great. Any other objections?
No, that all sounds pretty amazing. Now we only got 49 other things to do before 3 p.m. Thank you.
All right, yeah, you're welcome. That's great. I guess my mission's accomplished. I guess I can go back home now.
Dude, not so fast.
Oh, man.
You may have won John over, and you may have won Fiore over, but you still haven't convinced me that quality matters.
All right, and pray tell, why don't you think quality matters?
Quality doesn't matter because I'm getting tons of users regardless.
Wait, what?
Dude, I did a podcast and we spent some money on marketing. Even had this influencer friend of mine, some posts and some clever tweets about our action. Lo and behold, we got thousands of signups in the first 6 months. Boom.
Oh, thousands, really?
Oh yeah, dude, it was a huge success.
That's pretty good. I mean, out of curiosity, what's your user retention look like?
What? What's user retention, man?
You know, like how many people are using your action day 2, week 2, month 2?
Who cares, dude? Those are old users, yesterday's news, dude.
Okay, no worries. I bet the reviews that they're leaving, though, I bet those are fantastic.
Oh yeah, dude. They're great. They're awesome.
Oof. I guess you and I have different definitions of what great are.
Wait, what? What are you saying, man?
No. I mean, yeah, that's a great job. Great job. What about your monetization? I'm sure that's working out really well.
Oh yeah, dude. We had 200 in-app purchases in the last month alone.
Oh, wow, that's actually pretty great.
But Kirk, we do 5 test purchases a day.
See, I told you, people love our app, regardless.
All right. Boy, there's a lot to unpack here. Let's see. Okay, you mentioned your App Store ratings are great. And I'll admit, your ratings are better than the general averages on Alexa and Google. Come on, man, don't you want to do better than that? Don't you want to go from the minor league up to the major league?
I'd guess, dude, but I mean, at least we're successful monetizing it now.
I mean, you're getting a few purchases.
Yeah, you sound like my boss, dude. Merge that pull request, he says. Generate more revenue, he says.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. Like, what was the last mobile app you recommended to somebody?
Oh, it's Headspace, dude. Gotta get my head right for those backdoor A-friends coming my way.
Okay, and what about the last voice app you recommended?
Definitely Worldwide Surf Report. Find my tasty waves.
All right. And why did you recommend those apps?
Well, that Headspace dude, he's really chill. And he, helps me find my inner Zen surfer. And, when I really need that, when there's some big macros rolling in from the north, I can just buy more Headspace. It's kind of righteous. And for the Worldwide Surf, it's it always understands the break. Even when it's Hawaiian, like Waimea Bay, dude, understands it. And if I want some details on a new break, I'd get a few more puka shells and I get a deeper report. Stoking.
All right, so if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that apps that meet your expectations, that understand what you're saying, and that are a delight to interact with, that you actually spend money on and you recommend them to other users, is that right?
Yeah, I guess you're right, dude.
Great. Well, you're not alone in that. You're kind of dancing around as well one of the biggest challenges that's facing the whole voice industry today, which is discovery. There's lots of really amazing voice apps out there that people just don't know about. And so if they don't know about it, they're not going to use it. They're not going to pay for it.
But how can I fix it, dude?
Well, look, for years, the way that people have found new voice apps most frequently is through word of mouth. And so really, if you want to win over your whole customer base, you got to make sure that you win over each individual customer first. Start thinking of every interaction that you have with a user, not just as an opportunity to bring them closer to your brand or push them further away, but to have that same impact on every other user that they know. Studies show that people's tolerance of issues with these kinds of voice apps is much, much lower than it is with GUI apps. And so if you only get one chance to win over a user, you really better make it count. You get that right, I promise you're going to see your retention going up, you're going to see your new and your old user count going up, and your monetization, either in in-skill purchases or through your traditional digital or physical channels, is going to go up as well.
Whoa, dude. That totally makes sense. It was like I was blind before, but now I can see it all in Technicolor, dude.
You open our eyes to an amazing world of quality and save our land from despair and obsolescence. How can we ever repay you?
Oh, no payment necessary. Really, all I have to do now is figure out how to get back to my own land.
That's easy. All you have to do is wake up.
Wake up?
Emerson! Wake up! Wake up!
Oh,
You okay?
whoa, what happened?
I think you broke the very fabric of time and space with that test you were running.
Or you just got too excited with the test and went into a nerd coma?
Yeah, it was the strangest thing. I had this crazy dream. And John, you were there, and you were even nerdier than usual. And Fiore, you were there, and you were all chaotic. And Kirk, you were there, and you were wicked gnarly.
Well, that sounds exciting, Em, and I'm glad you had that experience, but we really need to see the results now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you guys want to look at the results? Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's it, folks. The fight is over. In the battle of the century, each contestant has now processed the subset of the 2019 Snips Voice Platform NL benchmark database. And in third place. Correctly understanding 50% of the supplied utterances. Amazon Alexa.
This is not my prime moment, but I'll be back in 2 days or less.
And in second place, correctly understanding 66% of the supplied utterances. Google Assistant.
Can somebody look up the fastest route to the help desk?
And in first place, defending her championship belt once again with a stunning 70% successful understanding rate. Apple Siri.
That's what you get for calling me Granny Smith.
That about wraps things up, folks. Thanks for joining us. And tune in next week to witness a showdown between the automotive heavyweights, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay.
All right, awesome. That was great. What do you guys want to do now?
Well, I was taking a look at those results, and based on it, I was able to update my intent model for Google Assistant. It's definitely going to be the best now.
Well, I did it too, and it actually proves Alexa has the best speech recognition. So...
No, it's Siri, and you all know it. Come on now.
You guys are crazy. Google Assistant is easily the best recognition. It can correctly parse a heavy metal power ballad at a distance of 100 paces.
But John, you don't even have an accent like me. You don't even have an accent like me. You don't even have an accent.
You guys are crazy. Google Assistant is easily the best recognition. It can correctly parse a heavy metal power ballad at a distance of 100 paces.
But John, you don't even have an accent like me.
Oh no, here we go again.
What are you talking about? I have a DC accent. It's a standard American accent.